hope Dave Flemming was listening as he's going to be joining us now on the River Islands guest line. As all guests on 95.7 The Game appear on the River Islands guest line, voice of the Giants for NBC Sports Bay Area, and is our 95.7 The Game Giants insider. Dave, good morning. It's Spadoni and Shasky with you here. Yeah. Hey, trade Ramos, Schmidt, Arise. This guy's done. Did you hear any of that call, Dave?
That's my lead-in. That's what you guys dialed up for me.
Sorry.
Let's welcome me into the show with that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Dave.
I heard the very, very tail end. All that was missing was the toilet flush sound effect when he went away.
Dave, that's where fans are at, Dave, unfortunately, on July 22nd. It's been tough. It's been tough.
Dave, where's LeBron going to play? How about that? I'm teasing.
And look, I don't blame any fans for being angry about this and what we're watching. I have no problem. There is a lot of fair criticism to go around for the way this season has unfolded and the way the team is playing on this road trip. And if people are angry about it and that makes anybody else upset, too bad, because the Giants have earned that crankiness from their fans. There's just no way around that. That doesn't mean you and I, the three of us, have talked about it a lot this year. That doesn't mean there aren't still good things going and there aren't still things that are important for this team over the next 60 games. But for fans to be upset with the way this is going down, good. They should be. Everybody should be upset about it. And I think everybody is upset about it.
What was your read on the play the other night? With the Willy Adames at second base, Susac, I thought it was an aggressive play by Susac. I probably, and I was saying it, because the angle on the camera when you're watching the game, and I know it's different from your perspective with Hunter in the booth, but I was like, go one. It looked like to me Arise was coming over to first. I love that he was aggressive in that situation, and if you're going to make that play, it's on a ball that gets bunted and spins back into the dirt into you. Just a tough play. I'm not 100% sure they were going to get him, even if he stretches on that one, but it just felt like a microcosm of, just not being in the right place at the right time and being focused.
Well, they were going to get him now if he was going to be out.
You
now,
think so? Okay.
Yeah. Now, if Adames is stretching out like a first baseman, maybe Rojas doesn't dog it like he did, and maybe then the timing of it changes. But as the play happened, he was going to be out. And I love young players learning how to play to win and be aggressive. Nobody was more aggressive in those spots than Buster was. Buster always tried to get that lead runner, always tried to make the aggressive winning play. And I think way too often this year, the Giants have played not to lose as opposed to play to win. And this has been a team that has not taken those kind of risks, and I loved it. And I hated – my least favorite part of the whole thing was after the game when Susac, the writers were down in the clubhouse talking to him, and it said, well, I guess I learned my lesson. I'll go to first. No, that is not the lesson from that play. And I really hope that there was a Giants coach who came over and talked to, it's not my place to go over and tell him no, but that is not the lesson to take away from that play. Like, there is no excuse to not be on the bag there. None. And there's nothing else you have to do. There's no other job in that play. There's nowhere else you have to be other than be on the base. And whether that would have made a difference or not, I don't know. But, that just can't happen. And look, that doesn't mean that was the only reason the Giants lost that game. Willie was the only reason the Giants were still playing in that game.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. Like, well, he made that mistake, and so he's solely responsible. But it's also just a fact that there's no reason for him not to be on the bag there, and that should have been an out. And if the Giants get that out, I think we're going to extra innings.
Yeah, it's really well said because he hit a huge home run. They're down to their last out. Jung Lee, as Hunter Pence is calling it, like, hey, when he goes low and away to left field, that's when he's on fire, and he rips one over the shortstop's head, and Willie hits the ball down the line to tie it up. And I was happy for him, and he's pumping, and guys are giving him daps in the dugout, and we're all fired up. But you brought up the young players, okay? And I think this is an important one. We see Bryce Eldridge at first base, and it's a first and third situation. The runner at first doesn't matter because the game-winning run is on third base, and there's less than 2 outs. And they had bunted already earlier in that inning and in that at-bat. They safety bunted on the first one, on the first pitch, and then they did it again. I mean, that's a play Bryce is going to hopefully have to make down the line, and this is why I feel like he does need to play more defensively at first base so that come next year or the year after that, that's a play that he's able to make.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tony was, I think for a manager, when you're trying to pick and choose who plays where, Tony was feeling bad for Bryce a little bit, like that the whole thing came down to him on one of the nights where he's playing there. And I went, just me talking to Tony, not on air, not just sitting down yesterday talking. I was like, no, to me, it's the opposite. Like, great. He needs that. The guy who's hardly played there. You can do all the Ron Washington drills you want, but when the game's on the line on a play like that, and Bryce was in the right place, he charged it exactly the way he did all the things you're supposed to do. He just rushed and didn't come up with the ball cleanly. And so next time I'm guessing that he will. And I'm with you. Like, those reps are really, really valuable for him. And for all these younger Giants players, unfortunately the wave of Giants young players isn't exactly here yet, but Bryce is the number one by far priority for this team right now in terms of their future. And so I thought, as much as I'm sure it killed him to not be able to make that play, those are the kinds of moments that this season is about right now.
Dave, you said you were with Tony V, and so a lot of people speculating on what could, should, might happen at the end of the year. And I mean, you're around this team every day. He's never been under 500, it seems like, for his entire collegiate career. I think only 2 games under 500 is the lowest he's gone. He's 17 games under now. No one thinks that he's happy, like in terms of, where the team is at. But, like, what's he like right now? Like, what's going on when you're around him? What's the vibe and the feel around Tony Vitello when you talk to him?
Yeah, when he and I have a lot of long conversations. Like, I don't get the sense of a guy like the losing is killing him like it does anybody in that position, but it's not like it's killing him to where it's taken away his, motivation to come to work every day. Like, Tony, I think, has handled the long big league season and the, way more losing than you would ever get as a high major. You can't schedule Middle Tennessee State when you're the Giants. Like, you're just going to lose a lot more games here. And I don't think that has deterred him from doing the job. I get the sense that his enthusiasm level is just the same, maybe even more than it was early in the season. I feel like he's becoming, he's letting his personality show a little bit more in the clubhouse and around everybody. And I think that's a really good thing. Now, but Tony said himself, leading into the All-Star break, it's been a big learning curve for him and a learning experience. And I think he was talking about himself and a lot of these Giants coaches. So there's definitely things that need to get cleaned up with this whole operation, but that's to be expected. And I think he's overall handled it about as well as he possibly could.
Talking with Dave Flemming here on the Morning Roast, Giants broadcaster, NBC Sports Bay Area, and our 95.7 The Game Giants insider. Dave, another injury, unfortunately, for this pitching staff. Trevor McDonald headed to the 15-day IL with an elbow strain. What did you think of the season he was prior to getting put on the IL? 18 games started, or 18 games played, 16 of those started. 3.60 earned run average away, 5.12 overall in the season.
Yeah, I think it's good and bad with Trevor. Like, the talent is definitely there. The movement of his stuff is elite. He still has a big step to take whenever he gets healthy again of, getting left-handed hitters out. And, that will be the barrier for him. If he can't overcome that, then that's going to limit his ability to be a starter in the big leagues. You could definitely find a role for that guy, but that's going to be the big hurdle for him. And that's why if he misses the rest of the season or a big chunk of the rest of the season, that stinks, because I think for him, the reps and the game reps, at the highest level, at the intensity of a game, are really important for him right now. He's like a lot of these Giants pitchers, the Wisenhunts, who's, probably going to get an opportunity now, Roop, McDonald, all these kind of guys, they've sort of gone through it at AAA. Like, there's not a lot left to learn for that group in the minor leagues. The learning has to happen here, which can be painful sometimes, but I'm a believer in Trevor McDonald. Really good athlete. I think the body moves well. I think he's got a future. That's the one thing I would say is he's got a lot of work to do to try to make sure he's got a weapon to get left-handers.
Ramos, since coming back from the injury, has just looked really good in left field defensively. Like, he's really made some really nice plays to cut balls off and hold guys to one. I've been really critical of his defense. It feels like he's taken a big leap forward there.
I agree. I think last night there were 3 plays that stood out to me, and there's just a comfort level out there. He's not moving with sort of tentativeness. He's assertive out there. I think he's got the tools to be a good outfielder. We've seen him be a good outfielder in right field. Maybe there's been enough reps now in left where the way the ball comes off the bat and the way that you see things out there, which is different. It's not the same. It is different. Maybe he's getting a little more comfortable there. I agree with you.
All right, Dave, let's get to the fun stuff. Did you see what happened with Bryson at the Open last weekend, Friday? Come on, you had to have seen the videos. The guy taking his swings late into the evening, offering the media snacks. Stomping around, not knowing if he was going to withdraw or not. What did you make of the whole scene of Bryson DeChambeau at the Open?
Well, look, I know players are all weighing in on both sides of it, but I'm sort of with McIlroy. Like, you watch that video, it's not like there's nuance there. Like, there's no doubt he broke the rules. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's too strong to say he did it intentionally, but there's no doubt that you can't do that. That's not allowed. It's just not. And so, he can protest all he wants and maybe protest on intent, but you can't do that. And so I was happy that they put the penalty on him because it's not fair. Everybody's supposed to play by the rules. You got to play by the rules. And, with Bryson, I think I said this to you guys. We've talked about this issue a lot with the Giants, with all the stuff that's been swirling around the Giants, with other things. And professional sports at the highest level requires so much focus, so much talent, but so much focus. And right now, Bryson DeChambeau does not have the focus required to be a championship player. He just doesn't. And his whole life is focused on stuff that doesn't matter when it comes to winning championships. And I can't tell him that. Nobody can tell him that. But until that changes, until the YouTube goofiness and this, ridiculous willingness to just create controversy everywhere he goes, until that goes away, he's not going to be a championship caliber player because it takes laser focus to do this at the highest level. He does not have that, at least in terms of on what's important in those tournaments.
Dave, you're talking about focus. Everyone's like, what's the focus of the trade deadline, right? And I'm being real. Like, I just see everyone wants to trade everyone. And my whole thing is like, all right, for the right price, anyone can be had relative, right?
Except for the caller that called in before you, Dave.
No, I guess. What is the...
How many curse words am I allowed to say while I answer that?
No. But what should their mindset be? Like, what are they looking to do? Like this whole obviously build up the farm. Well, I want to see these guys actually help them. They made a trade last year for Tyler Rogers. We've seen a little of Blade Tidwell. I think Gilbert's been a good player for the Giants. I don't know what he ends up becoming, a rotational outfielder. Maybe he sticks in center field for a while. I like him. I'm encouraged by him, but I'm looking at Arraez and all these guys. No matter who they trade, what is their focus? What are they trying to do? Is it just improve their farm, open up spots? How do you view approaching the deadline?
No, the focus should be get as many talented players into the organization as possible who can help the big league club. That is the focus. Now, here's the hardest part about the trade deadline is this. It's easy. The trade deadline's pretty easy when you're talking about the guys who are going to be free agents because the Giants are not going to the playoffs. And so you can pretty easily decide to trade the players who aren't signed for next year because, those players are only helping you this year. And if you're not going to the playoffs and you think you can get a good return for those free agents, that's an easy decision. And that doesn't mean you automatically make a deal. You don't make a bad deal. You hold the line and you're willing to say no as a negotiating stance, you're willing to say, yeah, we'll keep this guy. We like this guy. That's part of the leverage of the week. But the hardest question to ask and answer by far is, what is our realistic championship timeline? And if the answer to that question is not next year, if the Giants take a cold, hard, honest look and say, how close are we to being as good as we need to be a playoff team and a World Series winning team? And if the answer to that question is not, we're close, then you can make some hard decisions about guys who aren't just free agents at the end of this year, but who might not fit that championship timeline. That's where organizations have to make really tough calls. But if a guy has a lot of value now, and you don't think that in your window of having him under contract, you're a championship caliber team, and you can get players who are more in that window, those are smart baseball decisions. And I'm glad I'm not the one who has to make those calls, but that's the big question that has to get answered.
Speaking of decisions, I know you were tongue-in-cheek earlier on, Joe. We're still waiting for one big decision in the sports world. Like, for 3 weeks now, Dave, we are the flagship of the Golden State Warriors. Where's LeBron going? Let's ask Dave Flemming. Dave, where do you think on July 22nd, 2026, what does your heart of hearts tell you? The decision 4.0 for LeBron James, where's he head?
Yeah, I think the Warriors are in a pretty good position. I think the longer this goes, the more my gut tells me the Warriors might be the place. I think there are two things. Number one, being in California, being in the Bay Area, being close to LA, where he can zip home on off days, where he can be in a place that's familiar to him. He's familiar with some of these other spots too, but a place that he would like, and playing with Curry. I think the idea of playing with Steph, if this isn't ring chasing, if this isn't, about money, if this is just about happiness, I think for him, the idea of playing with Curry has to be in the back of his mind. Like, what would make me the most happy is that. So longer it goes on, the more I'm optimistic. I wasn't that optimistic before. Still probably, 20% chance he chooses the Warriors, but I'm feeling better about it.
Is your brother rubbing it in your face that the Red Sox are going on like a 14-game run here?
No, I'm happy for him. He's having a lot of fun. He's been fantastic. That place is just lit up right now, and I'm glad. I admire them because they had the exact same record as the Giants, like before this win streak, which is think about that. That's amazing how much it's changed, and the fortitude, the determination to kind of make that happen. There were a lot of underlying things that said they were much better than their record would indicate, but still. I feel good for him.
Dave, great stuff. We appreciate it. You're doing a hell of a job in a very trying season. I know Giants fans everywhere appreciate your calls. You and Hunter doing a hell of a job. Thanks, man.
I had a text after the hit that put the Royals ahead last night from somebody I trust saying, "You sound defeated." I was like, well, I'm not going for that. That's not what I'm going for. So I got to perk it up a little.
Let's just relive 2014. Let's keep reliving 2014 like you were doing.
We were doing it, and then I'm like, is this even sadder? Is this pitiful? It's like hey, look, Rodriguez had a good game. Koss had a good game. There's still good things happening. We're trying to focus on that stuff.
I know. You're doing a good job, buddy.
Thanks, Dave.